Testing, testing. There we go. Good evening, everybody. Hello, and there you are. Welcome to another Wednesday night Bible study here at Faith Baptist Church. So glad to have you guys this evening. I apologize about the camera. It's sideways and it's a little bit yellow, but here we is. I want to thank you guys so much for being here. I know we have a few to pray for. I don't have my prayer list in front of me. You guys help me try to remember, okay? I know we're praying for Landon. Sure, we're praying for Liliana's thumb to heal. Matt's in Hawaii. We're praying for Matt.
And for Matt to stop jiggling.
And for Matt to stop moving her thumb so it'll stop hurting. But I think him leaving the state helped. Yeah. Let's see, who else are we praying for? We're praying for, a lot of people got better,
Someone, had chest cancer
Yeah, that's a long-termer. Praying for...
Still praying for Miss Bianco. She's still not back at work.
Trying to...
Maya Bianco.
Starts with an L, and I can't remember, and I apologize. But yeah, we're going to continue to pray for him and his spinal cancer. Amanda just said, for those of you who maybe can't hear, praying for Miss Bianca, which is a teacher at the school. And we're praying... my camera's way low. It sees so much more of me than I'm comfortable with. Thank you. Lift it up a little bit. A little more. That's exactly where it was a second ago. That's better. Thank you. Okay. Actually, point it down and zoom in a little bit. Okay, that's better.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, so we're praying for, yes, Lonnie. We're praying for Lonnie and his spinal cancer. We're praying for Miss Bianco. She's still not at school. I don't know why, but she's not.
surgery.
She had appendicitis, so we're praying for her. Yes. So if you guys have anything else that you remember that I did not, be sure to leave a comment and let us know, and we'll do our best to read it out for everybody.
Oh, love
Miss Barber's tooth.
Miss Barber's tooth evidently has an issue with it. I've heard tale of root canals and all kinds of nonsense, and so just be in prayer for her. So like I said, if y'all have anything else, just leave a comment and let me know.
Oh, my foot.
Lizzie's foot is almost completely healed, so just continue to be in prayer for her foot that it'll get back to 100%.
It still hurts when you touch it, though.
Here, let me see. Okay, so tonight we're going to be talking about 1 Samuel chapter 31, which is entitled for our lesson tonight, The Tragic End of the House of Saul. Now, do you guys know who Saul is? Okay, so before, you guys know who King David is?
Yeah.
Okay, so before King David was King Saul. And King Saul ran the country of Israel as its first ever king. So David has had some back and forth with Saul, and that's what we've been talking about. Saul's been trying to kill David. David has escaped. David's been living in a Philistine city called Ziklag, him and his men. And that's what we've been talking about. Last time we talked about our series, we were talking about how all of the people, the wives and the kids were taken prisoner, and their homes were burned to the ground. So David and his men gathered themselves together, went and saved all the women and kids, brought them back, and rebuilt. So that was what happened last time. Today we've been leading up to this. You guys may remember we've been talking about the pitfalls of the king, all the terrible decisions he's made to this point, and the fact that he's gotten to the place where he doesn't so much care. I feel like I'm a little quiet. Let me turn me up a little bit.
You have a question.
Yeah.
Was David the one who got kids at 90?
No,
Okay.
that was Abraham.
Okay.
Yeah, but David is the one that slew Goliath,
Oh.
the giant.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's David.
With a rock.
Hey, thank you so much, Ryan. I appreciate the like on the stream. You guys don't forget to click that like button while you're still here. Yeah, so tonight we're talking about the tragic end of the House of Saul. Let's jump over to the Bible so you guys can see the story and we can read along together. Whoa, I'm way down here on this one. Let's unzoomies for a minute. Want to do that? Facebook, you want to unzoomies for a minute? You guys on YouTube, I'm not moving at all, so you have no idea what I'm talking about.
Dad.
Yeah. Yes.
Why did Saul burn down the town?
Saul didn't burn down the town.
Well,
The Philistines did.
Why did they burn down the town?
They saw David as an enemy. So while he was away, he destroyed their homes and attacked. It's something that happens throughout history, unfortunately. Long history between cowboys and Indians and so forth. It's really quite sad. But yeah, so unfortunately that happened. But fortunately, they were able to recover everything as well. So that was exciting too. All right, so we're going to start reading. I got my notes and everything over here, so you're going to kind of get a side profile tonight, but I'm going to do my best to look at you guys. So it says in verse 1 of 1 Samuel 31, anybody have their Bible on them? Not really?
No, I did not grab it.
Okay, that's okay.
And I forgot.
Well, you guys online, the Bible is right there. So
Maya, no.
1 Samuel 31, we're going to read the first few verses, and then we'll jump into it. It says, now the Philistines fought against Israel. And this has been a long-standing battle. It's been building up to this moment for a very long time. The Philistines fought against Israel, and the men of Israel fled from before the Philistines and fell down slain in Mount Gilboa. So this big, huge battle they've been building up to, Israel lost. And the soldiers are fleeing and being just slaughtered by the Philistines. The Philistines followed hard upon Saul and upon his sons, and the Philistines slew Jonathan and Abinadab and Malchishua, Saul's sons. Saul had 3 sons, and they all died in the battle. Now, the thing that makes this truly tragic is that Jonathan was David's best friend. And Jonathan just died in battle. Said in verse 3 that the battle went sore against Saul, and the archers hit him. And he was sore wounded of the archers. He was very badly injured. So it evidently hit him somewhere where it made it difficult. So either like in the leg, maybe in the shoulder, near the arm, sort of chest area. I don't know for sure. Hey, thank you so much, Amanda. I appreciate that. I'm sure I'm welcome, but
You're welcome.
oh, there we go. So it's odd to smile during such a tragic moment that we're reading about, right? But it says in verse 4, then said Saul to his armor bearer, draw thy sword and thrust me through therewith, lest these uncircumcised come and thrust me through and abuse me. But his armor bearer would not, for he was sore afraid. Therefore Saul took a sword and fell upon it. So Saul basically just told this guy, I want you to take your sword and stab me in the chest and kill me. Because if they catch me, they will kill me, but they're probably going to torture me a little bit first. And then still kill me. So I need you to kill me. And his armor bearer wouldn't do it. Verse 5 says, when his armor bearer saw that Saul was dead, he fell likewise upon his sword and died with him. So verse 6 said, Saul died and his 3 sons and his armor bearer and all his men that same day together. And when the men of Israel that were on the other side of the valley, that they were on the other side Jordan, saw that the men of Israel fled, and that Saul and his sons were dead, they forsook the cities. It looks like I'm reading it like right across for you guys on YouTube. You guys on Facebook, I'd have to look straight up like that, which is not going to happen. But on YouTube, it looks pretty cool. His sons were dead. They forsook the city. So the men, when they saw that this happened, they forsook the cities and fled, and the Philistines came and dwelt in them. So the king has died. All the princes have died. And the enemy has come in and invaded the land and taken it over. So this is the tragic moment we see, the Battle of Mount Gilboa. So a few phrases I want to look at when it says the men of Israel fled. This is really interesting in the Bible because any time in the Bible you see Israel fleeing from battle, they went on to the battlefield without God on their side. Every single time that's what happened. They jumped into a battle without checking in with God first. For example, Joshua chapter 7 tells the story of the Battle of Ai. Now, that's not artificial intelligence, that's a city called Ai. And in that city, Joshua and his men just coming off the Battle of Jericho. You guys heard about that one, right? Joshua fought the Battle of Jericho and the walls came tumbling down. And so, thank you for the hand pink waving, Amanda. And so, yeah. Oh, I get it. So, right after that battle, they were so jazzed, they were so hyped about it, that they were like, let's just keep going. We're on a W, let's just keep getting W's. Let's just keep going. You ever been like that before? You just keep winning, and you feel like just keep going. And what they did was they were on a really big win, so they kept going, and they went into the Battle of Ai without stopping to check in with the Lord first. And when they did that, they immediately lost, and many people died because of it. Another example of this is 1 Samuel 13. It says, when the men of Israel saw that they were in a strait, for the people were distressed, then the people did hide themselves in caves and in thickets and in rocks and in high places and in pits. And some of the Hebrews went over Jordan to the land of Gad and Gilead. As for Saul, he was yet in Gilead, and all the people followed him trembling. So this is another example of when Israel kind of marched into battle without necessarily checking with God first. And when they went into battle, all these things started going wrong, and the people started to scatter, like they did in what we just read with Saul. So the people began to scatter, and it's important, and this matters because it applies to us too. You don't go into battles. You don't go into actual physical battles. You don't go onto the playground with a sword in your hand. You guys don't go on your lunch breaks, with a shield and a sword and a helmet ready for battle, right? Well, it depends on whether or not you're in kindergarten that day or not. Yeah, right. But the truth of the matter is that you are in a battle. You can't see it, but you're in a battle every single day. It's an invisible battle of demons and angels and the devil and the Lord constantly fighting for your heart, for your mind. And that's the battles between good and evil, and we fight it every single day. And have you ever noticed that some days you're just in a bad mood? You ever notice that sometimes you just seem like you just can't get any energy? You're just frustrated and angry and nothing seems to be going your way. You ever had a day like that? Yeah.
One every day because someone might.
Well, and that can sometimes happen. But what can also sometimes happen, excuse me, is that it's because we too are going into battle without the Lord. There's a song, I'm not going to sing it for you tonight, but it goes, ere you left your room this morning, did you think to pray? Right? How do you start your day? Before you head off to work, before you head off to school, how do you start your day? Do you whisper a prayer to the Lord? Do you read your Bible verse for the day? You guys still keeping up with your daily Bible reading, by the way? If not, you got some catching up to do. So these are all things that we need to consider. We're going into battle every day, but if you're going into battle as a Christian without God, it's going to be a rougher day than it normally would be. Yep. Ephesians 3:12 says, in whom we have boldness and access with confidence by the faith of him. In other words, that access we have to the power of God is by our faith. Our faith gives us access to the power of God. James 1:5 says, if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, that giveth to all men liberally. 2 Corinthians 12:9 says, he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. These are all things that God gives us. We just read about. He gives us boldness, he gives us wisdom, and he gives us strength. These are all things we get from God, but we have to ask him for it. We have to pray. We have to have that time where we check in with the Lord and make sure we're bringing him with us when we go to do battle every day. We see also tragically, I want to talk about a little bit how the Philistines slew Saul's sons. Not just Saul, but his sons as well. And we know at least one of these sons was a fairly good man, one of David's best friends, and even stood up to his dad on many occasions when his dad would do something he knew was wrong. So many people fail to understand that their bad decisions don't just affect them. Right? If you say to yourself, I know I really shouldn't, but I'm going to do this anyways, you don't realize you're affecting somebody else too. That doesn't just affect you. If you're a parent, you've got a kid watching you. Somebody's looking up to you as an example and saying, well, if mom or dad do it, I don't see why I can do it. Why I can't do it. You might be an older cousin. Yes, ma'am.
I'm a piranha.
You're also an older cousin. And you've got little cousins looking up to you. You are fixing to have another little cousin that looks up to you as an example. So when you choose to, you say, no, I know I shouldn't dress like this, but I'm going to anyways, you got a little cousin looking at you. Right. And that's another reason not to. If you say, I know I shouldn't have that, shouldn't eat that, but I'm going to anyways, you're setting an example for a little cousin, for a little sister, for a little brother, or whatever you may have looking at you. We have somebody, when we make a bad decision, we're not the only ones affected by it. We hurt somebody else too. Saul made some bad choices, and his sons were the ones that paid the price. Romans 5:19 reminds us about Adam, who, as by one man's disobedience many were made sinners, so by the obedience of one shall many be made righteous. Telling us that the righteousness of Jesus Christ and his ability to be righteous is what helps save us from our sins. But also that Adam's sin affected all of us. Right? Exodus chapter 20 and verse 5, God says, this is where the 10 commandments are, by the way. That's in Exodus 20. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. So that's what he's saying there, is that your sin affects your kids and your grandkids and your great-grandkids, and that you're teaching your children how to behave. You're teaching people younger than you that look up to you how to behave based on your own behavior. So the next time you think, I know it's wrong, but I'm going to do it anyways, ask yourself how many other people are going to pay the price for that. We also see how the enemy dwells in their homes now. And that's a truly tragic thing. Saul's fear led to his men and their fear, which led to the people and their fear, until there was no courage left in all of Saul's kingdom. Because those that would have remained courageous, he chased out of fear of being usurped. But instead of being usurped, he was just killed. And now he made it so that the only way God could make David king was to completely destroy the house and lineage of Saul. Him and his sons had to die in order for David to be king now. His fear led to others' fear, which led to everyone's fear. Be careful not to let anything invade your heart where the Lord should be. Right? You're going to have fear invading. Be careful not to let fear conquer a part of your heart where the Lord should be. Revelation chapter 2 says, and has borne and has patience, and for my name's sake has labored and has not fainted. Then he says in verse 4, nevertheless I have somewhat against thee, because thou hast left thy first love. So he's talking about this church in Revelation chapter 2 that has done all these things right, except their love for God wasn't what it used to be. That their heart had been invaded by things like fear or by anger, and replaced parts of their heart where the Lord should be. So we ought to be careful of those things. But our story isn't over. It continues in verse 8. It says, it came to pass on the morrow when the Philistines came to strip the slain. So in other words, have you ever played one of those video games before? Where you're going through, think Skyrim or something like that, where you're going through and after you defeat an enemy, you can go over to that enemy and sort of loot them and take whatever gold and stuff is on them. Well, that's based off of something that really used to actually happen in history. When one army would defeat another army, they would come back through, the victorious army would come back through, and they would strip the slain of all that they had. So the Philistines, after they won, they're coming back to strip the slain, and then they found Saul and his 3 sons fallen in Mount Gilboa. And it says in verse 9, this is going to get graphic, so you guys buckle up. They cut off his head.
What?
They cut off his head.
They used the thing that they did in Merlin, but instead of throwing,
Oh, you're talking about the guillotine?
I don't know.
No, the guillotine wouldn't be invented for several thousand years. It was actually invented in France. You know what? We don't have time for this tonight.
And
But
also,
just, no, they took out a sword and chopped his head off.
Oh, Alice in the Wonderland.
Yes, off with his head.
Said,
The Bloody Red
for
Queen.
his head.
Live action Alice in Wonderland, fantastic movie. And they cut off his head and stripped off his armor and sent into the land of the Philistines round about to publish it in the house of their idols. Now, an idol is a false god. So they put his head and his armor, maybe not his head, just his armor, one of the two. Anyway, into the house of their false gods among their people. And they put his armor in the house of Ashtaroth, which is one of their gods. And they fastened his body to the wall of Bethshan. So yes, the head and armor went to one place, and the body of Saul went and was fastened. They literally hung it to the wall. His severed body. Hung it against a wall.
Wait, his body or his head?
His head was in one place.
Please don't tell me this place is public.
They hung the body in another place. Oh yes, I'm sure it was quite public.
Wait,
No.
there was clothes on the body, right?
I think so, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a little bothered that y'all feel better now. Guys, they hung a severed, they hung a headless body from the wall.
I'm still not okay. It's
Like,
still terrifying.
They adorned their idol's worship place with a severed head.
The Bible's so
Oh.
dark.
Yeah, you're not going to find this in your Precious Moments Bible. But yeah, this is in the Bible, folks. This is Game of Thrones level stuff. This is
the Bible.
pretty intense.
Tim Hawkins.
Yes, exactly.
This is
Yep.
the Bible, y'all.
Yep.
I ain't playing.
Verse 11 says, when the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead, which was in Israel, heard of that which the Philistines had done to Saul, all the valiant men arose and went all night and took the body of Saul and the bodies of his sons from the wall of Bethshan and came to Jabesh and burnt them there. Which sounds disrespectful and disgraceful, but was actually a more proper and respectful burial. And they took their bones and buried them under a tree at Jabesh and fasted 7 days. Yeah.
So kind of like what they did in Thor.
Yeah, kind of. Yep. A little bit like a Viking funeral. Yep. Only it wasn't like with the boat on the water and everything. Think the end of the third Star Wars movie. What they did with Vader's body.
Vader.
Or they put it on the pyre and it was burning.
I don't think he's made it.
Like a respectful Jedi sort of thing. Yeah, but it's in several movies. It's throughout history. Suffice it to say that just the important thing to remember is this was more respectful.
The Santa Claus with the toys, kind of.
Not at all.
Santa Claus is coming to town with the toys.
Nope, not even a little bit.
I'm sorry.
No, she's talking about the Meister Burger burning the toys of the kids and Santa Claus is coming to town. And that's not at all. That was
Oh, they're respecting his body.
right, they're respecting his body. Yes. This was a better thing.
And the kind of like
Okay.
She's good. Go ahead.
kind of like in the Guardians a little bit when they thought that the sand went away,
No, not like that either. No.
but
Um,
with fire.
You being 9 and being really into like Hannah Montana after just being into Bluey, I doubt you're going to have a whole lot of references for like a respectful burning of somebody's dead body. But just suffice it to say, this is a thing that people did and still do. But a few things I want to talk about before we're done tonight. Can you? Oh, she's got it. Oh, okay. Can you get that from her? Okay, the first thing I want to talk about is when it talks about those that lost this battle were spoiled of their possessions. I feel like it tells us these things intent. Like it builds the story, of course, and it makes it a great story, but it also is there for a reason. Right? The New Testament tells us these things are there to teach us about Christ and our interaction with him. So, allowing the devil a spiritual victory over you allows him to spoil you as well. So, he gets to take things from you. Only the things he takes from you aren't physical possessions, they're spiritual things. They're like happiness. The devil will take happiness from you if you're not careful. The devil will take your peace from you so that you're always bothered and worried and disturbed. Yes, ma'am.
We were kind of about that at school, but not that deep in. It was
Right.
Like,
It wasn't probably about the devil because they're not allowed to talk about that at
it
school.
was like,
Mm-hmm.
so what I do is like think about things that are exciting that are.
That's true. And as we get older, we find that the devil becomes more clever in his tactics, and he tries to get us in different kinds of ways. So Colossians 2:8 says, beware, be careful. You ever seen a beware sign put up somewhere? Beware. Big caution sign there. Lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men and after the rudiments of the world, and not after Christ. So how many times have we felt like we weren't worth anything because we weren't making a lot of money? Or how many times have we ever felt like that we weren't valuable because we weren't contributing enough to society? Because we weren't earning enough for somebody? Because somebody decided that we needed to be more successful than we were. This is vain deceit. This is the traditions of men. This is the rudiments of the world. And these things are not after Christ, because what Christ places value on is very, very different than what the world places value on. Christ places value on how much joy did you put back into the world today? Did you make somebody's day today? You know how easy it is to make somebody's day? It's as simple as looking to somebody and going, oh, I really like your shirt. Just made somebody's day. You could go, wow, your hair looks really great today. You just made somebody's day. That's what Christ places value upon, is us trying to be a light, a source of joy and positivity in the world. To go out with a gospel message that, yes, we're sinners, but Jesus died for us anyways. He loved us anyways. And all we have to do to know for sure we can go to heaven is just trust him, place our faith in him as our Lord and Savior. When we call upon him in faith, he will save us. What an encouraging message that is. These are the things that Christ places value on, not the stuff the rest of the world does, not what the insurance company looks at, right? Not what the bank looks at when you're asking for a loan, right? These are the things that Christ places an investment on, or an interest on. Yeah.
Day at school, when the door for me, I said I like that their outfit.
Exactly. Something as simple as that can brighten somebody's day. It's easy to be nice. And can I encourage you guys, especially you guys that live in the area, it's so easy to be nice even when you're in your car. Don't cut people off. If you're going to have a Christian fish on the back of your car, or you're going to have the name of your church on a decal or something on the back of your car, bumper sticker on the back of your car, don't be cutting people off. Don't be honking your horn and speeding off. Don't be that person if you're going to bear the name of Christ everywhere you drive your vehicle. Okay? Let's consider that the next time we go out driving. By the way, everybody who's here tonight, not you, Amanda, everybody who's watching online right now, I want you to leave a comment saying, I was here. I just want to see something. That's while you're live. If you're watching this on the VOD later, I don't know if you've already left the message or not, but if you're watching this on the VOD later, don't leave a message. I just want to see who's live tonight. I was here. So don't let the devil take these possessions from you. Also, this is such a tragic end for Saul, and it was so unnecessary. This was unnecessary. He didn't have to end like this. This is the end of his story. This man who was the first ever king of Israel, this man who started so well and had a heart so strong for God, ended with having abandoned God. His head is removed and his body is pinned to the wall out in the Philistines. This is such a tragic end for him and his sons. Imagine how different this battle might have gone if he had not driven David from the land. If he had not been jealous. Hey, thank you so much, Sylvia. I appreciate that. If he had not gotten to that place where, David was no longer there to help him. Imagine if this battle had been fought with David as his general. That would be I would love to read about that. I bet David would really, kick some tail, as they say. Pardon my French. That'd be a really fun battle to watch, or a fun battle to read about. But he wasn't there because of Saul's poor choices. It did not have to go this way. And that the fact that these men of Jabesh Gilead, need to be mentioned. I would do a disservice to these men and what they did if I didn't take a minute and mention what a thing that they did. They went into battle for nothing. There was nothing to gain from this battle except for the dignity and honor of their fallen king. How often do we weigh our decisions based off of what is most profitable for me? That is wrong, folks, and I know that's what's natural to us. And it's not as though you're choosing to be amoral. It's just you're not really thinking about it, right? We weigh things based off of what is it going to benefit me and my household. But these men of Jabesh Gilead, they made a decision based off of what was honorable and what was right. And they decided that this king, despite his pride, right, despite his selfish nature and despite his attitude toward God, that Saul was still their king, and that they decided to take up arms on the single darkest day in Israel's history so far. Romans 12:19 says, "Thou thyself art a guide of the blind, a light of them which are in darkness." These men were guided by a spiritual light of the Lord in the midst of darkness all around them. And I want to end tonight with this thought. No matter how dark things get, there will always be a light to guide you. That is our lesson for today. I want to thank you guys so much for being here. I have one I was here. That is going to make a determination, but thank you so much to Sylvia for being here. Thank you so much to the kids for interacting tonight. That was certainly fun for me. I think it was fun for everybody else too. Always thank you to Amanda for being the rock on which this is all, stable on. Would not be able to do it without her. But we are going to have a conversation about if this Wednesday night thing is going to continue like it has. So if you have a thought on that, leave a comment. I'll read them. And I'll take those things into consideration, but we're going to think about some changes. Anyway, thank you guys for being here, and we will see you on Sunday. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Yeah, you can say bye.
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 He's trying to get in frame. Oh, he bumped the microphone.
Bye.
Oh, rip to the headphone users.
Sorry.
You can get in here.
Hi, baby, go in.
Get in here, you knucklehead. There he is.
Bye.